Welcome to an In the Field episode of the Firm Foundation podcast, where I get to sit down with incredible people and let you hear some of their stories from what God is doing in the nations right now and in real time. All right, so today I'm so happy to have Nathan here with me from Kamienna Góra. We were at the school together. We're in the same family group together. And today we're talking about some of his experience that he had at the recent School of the Seven Seeds. So Nathan, go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners.
Hello everyone, I'm Nathan, I'm 16 years old. I live in Kamienna Góra in small town in Poland. I I do like MMA and kind of combat sports, and I think the first when I meet God was like because I'm from believers family, so I always had the feeling that I am a believer, I'm different than anyone else. So my first meeting with God was like I think 4 years ago, something like this, and I got baptized three years ago. So short story.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So this year's school, how many schools have you been to now?
I think for this year was fourth edition, I think.
Fourth edition. And I just hope that you guys listening caught the fact that he's 16. I think this is really important because the school is multi-generational. And I think you were our youngest guy.
I
Yeah. So we had like 77-year-olds with 16-year-olds and everything in between. And so that's one of the things that the school is so precious for is it is a family. We have every generation represented at the school. Okay, so I've got some questions for you, Nathan, and I know you've put a little bit of time into preparing some of this, and you shared some of this while we were at the school together. And I just want the folks listening to be able to hear exactly what you experienced and what the Father showed you and what has happened since you've come home. We've been home for just over a week now, maybe to talk about a little bit about how this last week has been since you've been back. But my first question is to you, what has changed in your perception of God since you've left the school this year?
All right, so at the school, I think in that topic, I was showing me that I I no longer feel the barrier of praying to someone higher, to someone being in heaven, but I truly feel that He's living in me, He's right in me, and really when I want to talk to Lord, I'm talking to someone who is inside of me. I'm not talking to someone who is untouchable and I can't meet with Him because He always lives in me. And yeah, that image changed so much in my life and is so much in my perception of God because you can feel that some kind of barriers, some kind of borders are just breaking, and yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really good. And so, on the back of that, there was one day where something happened for you. And I want to give the context of what was going on because we don't meet in a traditional setting where there's lots of hype and atmosphere and worship and music. There's not a lot of emotion in the room. It's a very lounge type room. We have high back chairs, we have tables and chairs, we have sofas, and we sit around and we talk and we process together. And on one of those days, something very special happened for you. So, can you just tell everyone what that was and what actually happened in that moment?
Yeah, so starting with a little background. So few months before the school, I struggled with feeling that presence in my life, and the main aspect that was revealed to me in second way was that I mistakenly associated with feeling his presence with some kind of emotional things, and
Mm.
you know despite my constant efforts on my own. So my prayer before the school, before I came to this year's school, this edition, was that on the school he would show me his true presence, which I experienced when God reminded me of that image from the movie of Passion, The Passion.
Mm.
And when he fell on the road while carrying his cross, and the cross just crushed him, and then like he was laying on the ground under this cross, and I literally saw that picture, that image, and I saw when he was laying under this cross, he started to saying to me that, Nathan, that was not you sitting on the arm of that cross, but that was the old man sitting on the shoulder of that cross. But totally that totally didn't stop me from picking you up and completely and sufficiently your flesh, taking your flesh to the cross. So stop feeling guilty and rise up in what I have prepared for you.
Mm.
And that was kind of, big revelation, because many times in church and many times, in this Christian, around Christian, you hear that the Lord went to the cross and he did this and he did this. But until you have the true revelation of this, that's something abnormal. That's something kind of,
Mm.
that's a big change in your perception of him going to the cross and taking
Mhm.
all of your bad stuff, your yoke, and to the cross, and being under this cross. And when he fell, and he was, even when he fell under this cross, he still knew and he still saw his way to the cross, and he still saw what he has to do to
Mm.
totally, pick me up from this old life. And then when he showed me this, I was, because before the school, I thought I was practically unbreakable with my feelings, kind of emotions and stuff. And when he showed me this revelation on the school, when he started to break me down in one of these sessions, I couldn't stop crying at first. And I had I somehow I had succeeded for a while, but when the session was over, I left the room. When we had the session, I left this room first and started walking at a fast pace to my room, for not, for everyone to not see that I'm crying and that I'm in tears. And it all just came out of me, despite my desperate attempts to hold back those emotions in me.
Mm.
And but on the stairs, when I was on my way to the room, it all just came out, and I I really couldn't stop,
Mm.
trying. And
Mm.
no matter how hard I tried to hold it
Mm.
back, and how strongly I held it. Uh, so, and also, the only thing that is truly unbreakable in all of this is the power of His word and everything He has planned for my life. And I also received a very broad spectrum of His revelation, that even in my failures and those moments when I stray from Him, and even those moments were part of His plan. Like even when I fall, it was right at the time when He planned for me to fall, to maybe teach something. But everything is good on His plan, and everything is planned by Him, and nothing happens without a reason.
Mm. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, and I remember the day this happened. Um, and I remember, I think I was sharing something. I can't remember exactly the circumstance at the time, but all I remember seeing is that all of a sudden, and to use a phrase that a lot of us are familiar with now, it's like he pitched the tent of his presence right over you in that back hall. And it was for you in that moment. No one was creating this atmosphere. No one was praying for you. No one was trying to rescue you or jump in and help you. He came, and at that right moment, he brought a revelation to you that you'd heard for many, 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 many times over. But in that moment, it became your special, unique moment with him where Holy Spirit revealed that to you. And I can say that as someone who's in your family group, the movement forward there from that moment was incredible to watch as you embraced what he was showing you in the following days after that. It was pretty awesome to be part of watching him do that in you. So let's move on to another question. And let's talk a little bit about community, because community was a big topic at the school. It was right from the very beginning when we arrived, and a lot was unfolded as the weeks went on to do with community. And so I just wonder if you can talk about what's changed in your perception of the believers, the community that's around you while you were at the school. What began to change with that?
All right. So the like I've never had like in my in people around me, I've never had that one friend that I could share everything with him, and I could you know pour out what's in me, what's really deep in me. And like on the school, he was showing me that even when I think I don't need anyone to have this kind of level with the Lord, I he was showing me that even if I think that I don't need them, I I really need them. And that's for me, that's that's truly need that I that I need. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like it's not something that I can share, and I don't live in this, because we need to live in community, and because we are, as the Bible says, we are one body. And also we had these family groups, when I could hear everyone from our family group sharing some testimonies, some things that they heard on these sessions. Some That was the things that, for example, someone shared that I couldn't hear from exact session, but some people heard this from the session. So I had that feeling, all right, the Lord is speaking to me through other people. And
mhm,
that was kind of really good experience. And also when I come back home, he's always also showing me that I really need to stay in this connection that he gave me, because we can have our flesh, our earth connections, but we need to stay in these connections that he gave us. Because when I have a relationship, for example, with you, when we are from England and I from Poland, but when I see you, I feel like we have the connection for many years, and
mhm,
that we've known for many years. So that's we just need to recognize his people that he gave us for our life
mhm,
to be in the closest relationship. And that's kind of groundbreaking, because you
mhm,
know we can have some people like pointed by us to be in relationship with us, but when we truly meet the people who he gave us, that's something unnormal. That's something
mhm,
that makes a big change in our life, because when you meet these people from him, in same second that you get to know these people, you know that these are people from him, that these
mhm.
people are truly from him, and he's showing you this, and that's something amazing.
There's such wisdom there. And I sometimes have to remember, Nathan, that you are only 16, that you're carrying such a depth of wisdom and revelation and understanding of this, because I don't think I had this when I was your age. And one of the things that really struck me about this year's school, and it was there last year as well, but I think it was highlighted more for me this year, was amongst the spectrum of generations that we had, right from you and some of the guys in their early 20s, all the way through to my generation in my late 40s, all the way into the 60s, the 70s. We had every kind of generation represented there. As a 16-year-old, what was that like for you to be around such a multi generational community? And what is it that you took from that?
At first, in my age, it's normal when you hear that there will be people who are 60 or 70, and you have to talk to them to have this, for example, family group
Mhm.
with the people that are 50 years old older than you, and you have that kind of little barrier in your mind. But when I came here, like the first time 4 years ago, the first thing God did in me was, the breaking of he broke these barriers, these borders that I did myself, by thinking that I I don't know, I won't be able to be in good relationships with these people. I didn't really think that these are his connections, that these are good connections. But after this 4 years, when also I came to this school, and this year I feel like these are people that I really, really, really need and really like straight from him. And that's that, you can think that he will give you the people that you can easily make connection with on the earth. Like, for example, he would give me the people who are, maybe in my around my age, right? But
Hmm.
he's, he just gave me people that, for example, some kind of older people that I have the great connections and greatest connections I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, and that you can easily come to these people and don't feel any borders between me and the people that are maybe 50 years older than me.
Mm.
That's kind of, amazing feeling that you can share
Yeah.
out and pour out what's deep in you, and that's really amazing. Because at first look, when you look at this, 16-year-old talking to 70-year-old, for example, you wouldn't say that it's, God connection or it's a normal connection, because on in our earthly eyes, it's it doesn't look normal. But when you really have these kind of relations, you are really starting to see that these are from the Lord, and that
Right.
means you really need them.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we really truly have experienced in this environment is how a family should really truly function. I mean, if you think about your earthly family as a 16-year-old, and if your grandparents are still around, then you've got great connection and relationship with your grandparents. It's like that age gap doesn't exist. And so, one of the most out of all the pictures that got taken over the school, there was one of you sitting at the communion table with John and Eileen, who were in their 70s. And it was just the most perfect picture. And it was the father's orchestration where you three were sat at the communion table together in that last session. And the father just really showed me how deeply these God given relationships are to our lives, and how as young people, it's very often easy for you and for me when I was your age to dismiss the elders, to dismiss those who have gone before, and they're not relevant, or they don't understand me, or they don't understand what I'm living through. And yet you sit and build relationships with these folks and you think, my goodness, I need these people. I really need these people in my life. And so I think one of the greatest models or expressions of the family of God, of the family of sons that he so desires, is the fact that we're all on this spectrum. We're all sons living together at different stages of maturing and growth. And we need each other. And how the Father has given us to each other at all different stages. And it was just a really wonderful thing to see. All right. So we're coming into the last question. And so I'm going to ask you, what was the one thing that spoke to you most from the school this year?
I really have, many, many revelations of all things that I had in back, I don't know, maybe last 10 years. And 10 years, I'm 16. Oh, all right, man.
It's okay. You can start at 6 years old. That's no problem.
Yeah. But that was really this edition of school was like a one big group of revelations, one by one. Revelation of his sonship, revelation of his love, revelation of, his kingdom, of being us, being one in him, of our connections in him. And that's something, when you have those kind of revelations of things that you've heard so many times, your perception of these topics that you had revelations of just changed totally. And that was something, you know amazing for me. And one of those revelations I can share, for example, that it's not that he chooses from this whole list. The Lord has whole list of things, and it's not that he chooses the things that he wants to give us. And when I ask him to provide for me what he wants to give me this time, but at the moment of our decision to follow him and our true sonship is revealed to us, I think also you've shared this, that God simply catches us and not only puts his life in us, but above all puts us completely into his life so that we can truly live in our daily lives what he experienced on the earth, what he taught, and not just try to imitate it on the earth, on our daily life, because we were not created to do his will but to be his will. And that really takes away all the burden and all the yoke for me, because like you really don't have to do anything. You're because the very fact that I exist and I live in his presence is completely sufficient for him, and I don't really need to do anything else. So that's kind of groundbreaking for me. And he made me like this, and he don't have some expectations for me to do this and then do this and move to this point, because when he thinks that there's the right time for things to happen in my life, it will just happen because it's his plan. My whole ethics, it's his plan. So yeah, that's amazing that everything that happens, it is in his plan and in his will for our life. So we are, as I said, we are not doing his will, not created to do his will, but we truly are his will. And when we just exist, as I said, that's enough. That's really enough for him. We can walk through us, he can talk through us, and that's something amazing that we really, all of the yoke that he take over me, that I don't really have to do anything, like truly anything. I just need to stay with him and just be. That's enough for him, and that's something amazing for me.
Well, that's all for today's In the Field episode. A big thanks to Nathan for joining me and sharing some of his testimony from the Polish School of the 70. And thank you all for listening in, and I'll see you on the next episode.